and welcome to Minute to Skim It. Yeah, it's going to be fun today. We're here on The Experience. I am Miss Jen.
And I'm Bean.
Look, the little things are a lie. They're below us. That's perfect.
I know. It's always a lie, though. It's consistent.
That's true. There's some amazing titles out this week. It's so funny when you look at the list. The way everything comes to us now is so weird and disjointed. So we get our stuff from Diamond. And you look at the list and you're like, oh, well, that's a pretty good list, but it feels a little light. And then you realize that none of Marvel or DC is on it. So you've got all of those awesome things. And then we realize also have Scout and Source Point are awesome that are not on that list. So yeah, it just becomes like the present you get to unwrap and unwrap and unwrap. Yes. Plus we got some stuff directly from creators this week. So definitely pay attention to what we show you tonight, because you can call your local comic shop right after the show or send them an email or direct message on Facebook or however you usually connect with them, and make sure that you put down your favorite titles to be pulled for you so you don't miss anything. That's really what we're doing this for, so you guys get a handle on things that are either coming out this week or coming out very soon, or that you can get directly from the creators if it's something that doesn't come through the traditional channel. So.
And even with the big companies, with some of them choosing to cut down or completely eliminate second printings, getting the comics as they're coming out is just like way more important than it was before. Like the paper shortage is getting real.
Yeah, it's not a lie. All right, I'll let you go first.
Oh, let me go first.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
How will you choose?
Oh, I'm gonna start from the bottom. And I'm gonna start with My Bad.
Is it really called My Bad?
It is called My Bad.
My Bad.
A little confusing as we were doing inventory and calling things out today. People just kept thinking other people were making mistakes somewhere in the warehouse today. But this is My Bad from Ahoy Comics. As you can see on the front of it, it says valuable new IP inside. And it says on the banner, important new superhero universe. And this is a great satire. The first story that you're going to encounter in reading this is about Chandelier Man, who you can see right here, literally has a chandelier on his head, which is a great satire of Batman. I mean, it's literally the exact setup story, him and his butler in his mansion, all this. But his story is that his parents made all their money from light fixtures. And so that's how he became Chandelier Man. And this is a really funny book. It's hilarious and weird, and it was very, very, very interesting. It's definitely very good satire. I mean, this guy is called Man-Child. I'm not sure why but he throws tantrums and turns into this big green guy. And I'm trying to remember. I don't actually remember. Oh, this is the Accelerator. That's his name. And he runs a line of chicken restaurants.
Of course he
and
does.
Is being sued by KFC for infringement. In the book he is. So it's very funny, very good. And this one, to start off, as they're introducing a couple of different characters, the main story, probably the longest story, is about Chandelier Man, but then there's a couple other little short stories introducing you to different characters. It's definitely really enjoyable. It was a fun book to read.
So, just from being in comic books for so long, I wonder if it's actually hard still to try to figure out a satire way to make fun of comic book characters that hasn't already been done. Because I'm thinking about all of that in the 90s, there was a whole line of books that's what they did. That's the whole gist of them, which is, I really think that you have to really stretch even to have, making fun of characters, which is pretty funny. All right, I'm going to go way to the top. Let's start at the top. Nice. All right, remember you were talking about earlier that you felt like you were reading something that was based on historical characters or taught you something. This is what I feel like this one is, because, Cullen Bunn is awesome. This is The Heathens. And for it looks like all of these characters are dead, but so I don't want to call them immortals because that's not right. And they don't present them as zombies either, but they are alive doing what they're doing right now. So I don't know. They're the undead that look very much alive. It is a historical piratess. That is Billy the Kid. And some other historical characters. These two are mobsters from different parts of the mob world. But it looks like, and we haven't met who the deal is with, but it looks like if they kill specific people and it looks like they have to do 6, then something happens. I don't know if they get allowed to die and be done, or if they get their access to their souls. I don't know. It's not 100% clear, but it's awesome because they developed the characters pretty well. Like, you really get to see the pirate queen there. She's awesome and a half. But I don't think I've ever read a book like it. But if you like books, like Aftershock has a book that's based on Teddy Roosevelt and his group of powerhouses, which are called the Rough Riders. You probably like it because of the historical mention of people. And I don't know, like for people that like Yishu Shin, which is an awesome book that deals with a Korean naval commander, written by Henri Copan. Things like that. If you like those kinds of things where it has actual characters that did exist at one point, but they're, obviously writing them however they want for the storyline that they're doing now, grab this one up. And it's Cullen Bunn, so it can't be bad ever because Cullen always writes great stuff. By the way, I don't think that guy ever gets to sleep because he has so many books coming out. Like every week there's like 3 or something. So,
oh my goodness. I don't know how some creators keep up with everything. All right. Well, my next one is Boston Metaphysical Society, Ghosts and Demons. So this is a sort of a one-shot. I'm going to say sort of a one-shot. That comes after the 6-issue series that they had. I don't have any information, but it feels like a bridge. It feels like they're taking it from the end of a series and setting it up for a new one. I don't know that for sure, but that's just the feel. You got somebody looking off into the distance in the end and like, oh, I'm gonna get you, so it's that feel of they're setting it up for the next thing. Do you have any knowledge about something new coming from them?
So I know that I read the last Boston Metaphysical, and that one was a single shot, and I loved it. So they do some of them, like one of them dealt with, I believe it was a series that had a story about a what are those called? They sit at the end of big pieces of water so that you don't run into the rocks.
The
lighthouse, a lighthouse keeper, his wife. And then he had died, but then it's a big ghost romantic tale, which is awesome. So it's one of those.
Well, that's fun. This one was about the character from the first series, Caitlin, and she is wanted by the police, which I didn't actually read the first series. I haven't gotten to that yet. But she has returned to her hometown, and she's wanted by the police, but she's come back because a ghost from her childhood that was actually her childhood friend that kind of was the reason she understood that she had these powers to see ghosts. It seems like he's been reaching out to her. She's been having dreams about this ghost who is her friend, and was her companion for many years, saying that he needs help. So even though she's wanted by the police, her mom hates her, has this horrible relationship with her mom, she still goes back and sneaks in to try to figure out if he's okay. I mean, he's a ghost, so everybody's like, what could be wrong with a ghost? What could be wrong? She's like, I don't know, crazy stuff happens, So she is sneaking back in, and there's a lot more going on than just a ghost in distress. So it's a really good, it's got sort of like that, the part where she's sneaking in, and then it's got a whole awesome like supernatural story that it goes into. So very, very good, especially if you enjoyed the original series that they came out with. And like I said, it definitely feels like they're setting it up for something else to come out, and it's wonderful.
By the way, this is completely interactive. If you guys have any like comments, like you read any of these books or anything tied to them, or you like the creators that are part of them, and you've got some input, totally shout it out. Hey, Ming Chen, how are you doing? You're the mighty bean. I'm the something Miss Jen.
Sensational Miss Jen.
Oh, no, that's too many letters. All right. This one was a cool book. This is from a publisher I'm not familiar with. Maybe it's brand new. This one's ARH Comics, and it's a book called Undying Queen. Now, it says on it that Arcala is back, which makes me believe that maybe there was another series that happened before this one that touched on maybe some of the characters that are in here. But I read it and didn't feel like that was necessarily true, because it didn't say as seen before or assume anything. This one's really kind of a long, you know, when Shakespeare would do tragedies, that's what it feels like. It feels very much like, you know, King Lear or whatever, because it goes into this whole long storyline about a king and a queen. The queen dies, and all of the things that they do to like have people follow her into the afterlife, and how that angers something. They uncover a mirror that needs to be fed blood. It's like a really big storyline to get to this character, but it's like the entire book to get down to this. Like the last 3 pages has this character specifically in it. The rest of it is all development for the character, which is awesome. I'm so used to there being just this like tiny little, this is what happened to make this character happen, and then here's the storyline now. But this one, like,
it's got
really,
lore.
Yeah, and it has really great art. Here's the art that you see on the cover is largely what you see on the inside. So if you're wanting to try a super indie that has cool book, by the way, it does have injury to children and people, lots of injury to people. So it's not like a cutesy book.
Yeah, which you can see that on the front too. Is pretty gory. All right. Oh, let's do one of 2. I think there's only 2 big DC books that came out this week, which I know this one has been very anticipated, and this one I think as well is The Human Target from DC Black Label, #1. This one is good. I mean,
New Tom King book.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And it is wonderful. And I mean, if you just look at this cover, it has classic James Bond vibes. That's exactly what they're going for in here. This is classic spy man, like, with a twist, of course. That's sort of the baseline they're starting with, is that he's this like suave sort of spy, but what his job actually is, and so he is the human target, this character, and he is, which I'm not 100% sure, which I don't know if Hannah knows this or not, but if he actually has a superpower or if that's just his profession. Because his job is that he goes and dresses up, does like full prosthetic makeup of famous people who know they're about to get assassinated, and then pretends to die for them. And he is working for Lex Luthor in the beginning of this, and dresses up to pretend to be Lex Luthor, and then has somebody shoots him in the chest, but then he does not die. So I'm not 100% sure if that's a superpower. It seems superpowered. I mean, he gets back up. Like, he does not do, you know, it's not like a normal person. Normal person would be out for a little bit. But basically, though, in the very beginning of this book, you see that he dies. on day 12 he dies, and then it goes all the way back to the point on day 1 is when he is pretending to be Lex Luthor. So it's definitely one of those stories where the time is ticking, you know he dies at the end, and it's about what he does in his last 12 days, which I believe this is this the one in 12? No, that one's the one in 12. I don't know how many of these books there are. Be funny if there was 12. Each one is a day, but I'm not sure. Like that. Yeah, but it's very good. Lots of twists, lots of intrigue, and it's going to be a really good mystery, which they have a like who done it Clue inspired cover they came out with, which really emphasizes that this is a mystery, this is a detective story, a spy story. It is so good. So it does have superheroes in it, but for those of you that love mysteries, that's a good pickup.
I feel like Tom King said, let me take some characters that we haven't touched on in a while, and let me remind people why they love them or should love them.
Oh, exactly.
Because he did. I don't know that before he touched. Is it Miracle Man? I don't think I knew anything about that character before he touched on that one. He's been doing so many good things. Hey, Rob, how are you doing? Hi, Adrian.
Oh, it's very good, and Adrian, you're gonna enjoy it. It was really good read.
All right, I'm gonna tell you that I obviously needed some more background for this one. It was good, but I think I would have gotten more out of it if I had known more. This is The Chilling Adventures in Sorcery, which is the new book that touches on the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina universe. This is a one-shot, so you don't need anything else. And it's like a little it's like different stories all put together, and the bridge of the gap is this character here. I will tell you, very dark, just like the show is and the comic books are for the Sabrina character.
Chilling Adventures, yes.
Yep. A lot of
not like
dark
Sabrina the Teenage Witch at all.
No.
But so good.
Yeah, like dark magic and witchcraft and all those kinds of things. Just know that that's what you're reading when you get into it, so you know you're getting into dark things. But it's good and spooky. I wish it had come out last week. It would have been better for them, I think, for the spookiness of it.
Oh,
I probably
think that was originally the plan, but they've been having problems since the pandemic. So
it's a tough all the way around for keeping schedule right now. But you can just pretend. Sit and eat your candy that you got on Halloween.
Right. I'm still watching through it again because I didn't finish by Halloween, but yeah.
All right, this one is a crossover number 9. I don't know if you remember, but I think issue 7 was taken over by Chip Zdarsky, in which he wrote that issue, and it was kind of a standalone part, although it is completely in the middle of the story. I can't remember what happened in number 8. I either didn't read that one or someone else got to read it for review, but crossover 9 continues on with this crazy notion that they've figured out that part of the big overreaching storyline that's happening is that somebody is going and killing all of the comic book writers.
Right.
So you see some comic book creators' deaths in this issue. So I guess deaths of real people, real imaginary people. So not trying to kill comic book characters, comic book character creators, because the whole purpose of crossover is that there's all the lines between real and pretend and comic book and real life are all blurred. They're all completely destroyed. And I don't know how Kate's got away with this, but you see characters built, made by very famous people, referenced to and actually in these books.
Yeah.
Not even pretending like, oh, this is like, Bartman. they have like real Like they have actual imagery of stuff.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind. Like at the very end of the very first book, it's clear that it's a drawing of Superman.
Yeah.
But no one sassed him about it because he's Donny Cates. And to their credit, it means that everyone's thinking about all comic books in a really cool way. So don't miss this one. There's definitely death.
Mm-hmm. All right. We've got, and I think this one, a thing called Truth. I think this was the one that Hannah was pretty excited about this week. And I just grabbed it, read it, didn't know anything about it. And this one was so good. It really was. So okay, a lot happens in this in a very brief amount of time. So the main character for this, which is kind of setting up that both of these gals here are going to be the main characters. But this first book focuses on this main character who is a scientist. In the beginning, she has been working for years on this new medical device. She doesn't say exactly what it is, but she's like, this is going to change the world. I am going to help so many human lives, and this is really going to make society better. Also, I figured out how to make it really cheap, so the company's going to make a lot of money, all this. So she's really excited about that. Goes home for the day, is like, I'm finally going to get some good sleep because tomorrow I am going to get all my paperwork together and submit it for a patent. I'm so excited. This is all done sort of like a diary entry, like, video log. And she goes home for the day, chills out. Turns out her personal life is a big mess because she spends all of her time in the lab. You get a little like peek into that. And then she comes back the next day and her key card doesn't work.
Oh.
And the security guard won't let her in. And they say, oh, yesterday you resigned. And she's like, no, I didn't. Let me in there. Give me my research. And they're like, and then it does the thing where it cuts away to like the boss of the company, like, like revealing his evil plan and like laughing and like drinking champagne with his like, other people, or they're like, ha ha, everyone will think she's crazy and we're gonna make billions of dollars, and it's like, and so that's the setup, is like she has had all of her research stolen, like completely taken over, and she's not handled it well. I mean, who would, how do you handle that well? And so that's really at the end of this, something is going on, because then she meets this other character, which it says at the end that you're going to learn who she is and where she comes from, but something bigger is going on. You're not sure what, but it's going to be awesome, because I love this character. She's such a mess, and I love her. Like, I love a character who's a mess. So that's a thing called Truth from Image this week, and it's awesome.
Sure, but I think that happens more often, like, as a real thing, because I'm pretty sure that when you work for a company, that all things that are created while you're there belong to them.
Yeah.
So really, they can lock her out.
Yeah. Sometimes even in your personal life, if you make something, they can steal it. So
yeah, I think there's some, you got to be careful about the contracts you sign when you sign employment records, I guess, because that, I mean, especially if it's something that's like when you're creating like something that could be patented, like a new technology, or all that kind of stuff. I mean, if you're getting paid a goodly amount of money, then probably you don't really care, because you weren't going to be able to spend the money to develop a new vaccine anyway. But unless you have your own CRISPR, I guess we could do that. Hey, that's why IP lawyers exist. That's right. You got to spend a lot of money on those people, but it's awesome. Yeah. All right. So hi everyone. I saw Adrian's on, and I saw someone else pop on earlier. I think it was James. Yeah,
James Hart.
James Harden, hello. All right, I'm going to talk to you about this awesome thing. The Magic Order is a great series done by Mark Millar out of the Image imprints. And what's so cool is that the first series was a hit. I think it went to issue 12 and then was done with its first arc. And the thing that was cool about it is that fairly soon after it was launched, it got announced as being in possible development with, I think, Netflix. I think that Netflix has first look deals with everything Millar universe. So the cool thing about Magic Order is it presents people that use magic as being kind of like not necessarily good guys. Like sometimes they use it for their own ends. Think of like aristocratic thieves or bullies. It's kind of interesting, and that continues along in this issue where they kind of seem like they might be doing the right thing, but then you see them use magic for their own gain, and you're like, oh, these are deplorables, but they dress nice. So
I 100% thought this was issue 2 of a comic called The Magic Order, and I was like, wow, I didn't even see number 1 come out of this. Wow, it snuck up on me, but it's The Magic Order 2 number 1. All right.
Yeah, there's it's, as I remember it, that there are different factions that use magic that don't get along.
Do you feel like reading the first series would be helpful, or do you think they can just jump in?
I think I would like to read the first one. I think that going to get the trade paperbacks is awesome, but I also will tell you, having not read any of those books for 2 years, I think that's when it finished. I jumped into this and it was fine.
Okay, cool. All right, next up I have Sheena, Queen of the Jungle.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous cover, by the way.
Dynamite. I know they had some beautiful covers for this one. I mean, because Dynamite, with all of their female-led stuff, they had like 8 different covers that came out, and they were all gorgeous. This is the cover A, and Sheena's awesome. I mean, anybody who's read a Sheena before is probably very excited that she is coming back. And this story is really interesting. So basically, it starts off, Sheena's just out. Well, she wakes up. She's kind of having a dream that she's in the jungle, and then she wakes up and she's in this modern apartment. So immediately you're like, that's not where Sheena's supposed to be. And Sheena's like, this is not where I'm supposed to be. What is going on? And she has been captured and taken in because this huge corporation, which is the same corporation that her parents ran, but they have since, they don't run it anymore, but it's still like her family ties in this huge corporation. And they have basically said that they are doing this big conservation effort, but what they did is they put a big dome in the jungle, like a huge dome, and it's going to be for eco-tourists.
Oh no, that's cool. I thought you were going to say they were going to hunt dinosaurs, but
no, it's kind of one of those like, because I mean, did you have to put a giant dome in the middle of the jungle?
But it looks cool.
It does look cool, but basically they have made this thing for the eco-tourists. They sent the first group in, and they didn't come out, and they couldn't find them. So then they sent a search party in, fully armed. They didn't come out either.
What do they think's in there?
They have no clue, and they have no idea where these people are. And so they went and got Sheena, and basically were like, we need your help. We don't know. It's very sketchy because they're also holding her companions, like her animals, hostage from her.
Sounds like a winning arrangement.
Yeah, I mean, they literally like gassed her like in the jungle like an animal and like put her to sleep and then dragged her into captivity. So it's a whole thing. But she says, fine, I will go help you. I'm gonna go help them. I don't really have a choice. So that's where that's the setup for this new storyline they're going to be going through. it's so fun, and it's really cool. At the end, there's sort of a reveal of like kind of what she might be hunting down, and it's gonna be very, very epic.
Dinosaurs!
Yes. Well, no, I'm not saying yes to dinosaurs. Maybe. We'll see.
Well, if it's not jungle animals, there has to be something scary in there. I guess it's gonna be aliens.
I don't know what the heck is in there. I read it, and it's definitely going to be an ongoing storyline, but it's going to be awesome.
All right. This is a cool series. I don't think it's tied to their other superhero universe, but I could be completely wrong. It's not written by Deodato, who's been writing the rest of them. Or no, I think it's just Straczynski. My brain's bad today for remembering names. This is Knighted. No, I think it's Deodato because he's been doing all the cover Bs. So Knighted says heroes never die, and then never has a big X in it, right? Okay, so the premise of this book is that the human race has gone through I think it's just like 5% of the human race has developed some kind of small power. Nothing usually very significant, like, making sparkles with your fingers, or nothing that's like gonna make you a superhero. And then there are some superheroes as part of this universe. This guy right here is some kind of, his name is the something Knight. I can't remember. But so it's mostly not really about him as much as it is about this like regular guy who is actually an IT specialist at a police department, kind of a mundane job, who is dating the chief of police, I think, or the commissioner's daughter. And the book opens with him asking her to marry him, in which she very kindly says, I don't really need marriage from you. I need to see you in a position that has some upward mobility. I guess whatever he's doing right now, there's nowhere to move from where he is, which is kind of weird to have your your loved one, the person you love dearly, to be like, I need to see more ambition, And then through twist of fate, him and his character kind of have a meeting up with this superhero. Things go all kinds of weird. So I can't tell you anymore that it messes all the things up, but just to know, people that like Batman or unusual origin stories will like this one. I think I don't think you have to be a superhero lover to like this one, because I know there's some people that like, another superhero book. This doesn't feel like that.
That's good. If you could suddenly develop a small superpower, what would you want it to be? Just something real minor.
Remembering creators' names when I need them. That's all I really need. It doesn't even have to be a superpower. I just like have my mind engage on the regular would be great. How about yours?
I would want to be able to suddenly be wearing roller skates. And because sometimes I'll be walking and I'll be thinking that this is just taking too long. If I just had roller skates on, then I could just be going. I've thought about that a lot. Right? Yeah.
It's super useful.
Yeah.
Or just like you can teleport, but only shorter distances.
Oh yeah. I think I would get confused with teleportation. I would worry about myself.
It would be cool to be like, man, I need something from across the room.
If it was like Misty Step in D&D, that's got a 30 feet limit, that'd be
like
that would
Nightcrawler.
be enough that I could not get confused.
All right, my next one, and this one, the official title.
Sorry, Adrian, I didn't see what you said. Can't wait to get that the Linsner cover. Probably for Sheena.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this one, the title of it is The Creator's Name, Gilliam March, Laura and Other Stories. Hopefully I'll help you find it if you're interested in this one. And so this one is, I'm not sure if I'm using the term right, slice of life, although I think that's usually used for like mangas and stuff like that. But this one is really good. And it's about Laura, and I'm not entirely sure what Laura and Other Stories means, because this whole book is about Laura, and it is listed as a number 1. It'll definitely be having more issues, I assume, about Laura. And I'm not sure if it's just sort of like about how different stories and like different people's lives sort of intertwine with one person's as they go through. But Laura is not having a great time in this book. Basically, she has this guy that she's kind of friends with benefits with, hooking up with, but it's casual. And but then she wants it to be more, he doesn't, he backs off, and then he ends up finding someone else that he wants to be in a relationship with. So that's really the story of this. And it's just and they sort of have this sort of back and forth where there are moments where it's like maybe they're going to be more than friends, maybe they are just friends. It's really one of those books that really focuses just on the little things, just on the little interactions that people have. And at the end, she decides, farther towards the end of this book, she decides to just go out, and her friend, shows up and is like, hey, let's go out, stop moping around. She's really heartbroken over this. And, it's just about her going out and sort of trying to pick up the pieces and everything. So that's Laura and Other Stories. Like I said, Laura might be, in this first one, she's the only one that it really focuses on, but it's really, really cool. Really good little sort of romance relationship book.
Aww.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and Kyle says that it's slice of life is a right term.
Nice.
And it hasn't been normally a comic term, but now it is more common. And Nick Marucci's in the house, saying hi to Adrian.
Yep.
Hello, sir. How are you doing? All right. Strange Academy presents. Okay, so this is a tie into the death of Doctor Strange, because they've, in this book, have just given all of his students a notification saying that, hey, the founder of your school is dead. We're gonna send you all home now until we figure out what we're supposed to do next. Go, those poor kids. Just feel so bad for them. And it goes through this other storyline in which you follow Doctor Strange's relationship with the Enchantress, who you find out has made a deal in the past to trade her firstborn for this necklace that in the past has saved her life. She only made the deal because she didn't think she'd ever have kids, but she's got 2 now. And so there's basically this story about what happens when you promise your firstborn to a very bad entity, not the devil, in exchange for something that saves your life, but then have Doctor Strange in this instance cast a spell to protect the firstborn that will be enacted as long as Doctor Strange is alive. And
he's
not anymore.
Yeah.
So it's a great story. Oh my gosh. And you don't have to know anything about Strange Academy except for it is an academy that has been created, and there's a bunch of cool characters that are part of the student body, including Dormammu's son, which is awesome. Like, I don't know if I teach him anything at all, but okay.
Yeah. And it's really interesting because, and thinking about Christmas gifts, Christmas is coming up. They are more accessible, I think, to younger audience, and they've actually come out with kind of like a smaller print of like trade paperbacks, so kind of better for little hands. So if you got
digest size, or what they call the scholastic size,
but it's the exact same comics. It's the same comics. It's just a smaller size, and it's just really nice. Thinking about maybe getting some kids in your life into comics would be a good thing. So
Brittany says, so if you have Strange Academy on your pull list, you should. The team should. It says Strange Academy on it, so I can't imagine they did not.
Yeah, we'll double check, but I'm pretty sure.
We'll make sure. Thank you, Nick, for reminding me that doing thumbs up and hearts and all that stuff is super awesome. you share. Sharing this show should be like a no-brainer, right? You want to get your friends into comic books, and you're like, well, my friends don't even want to don't know where to go or what to do or what to start with. This is the show to share, right? Because this is like, it's not like a selling show and you're like, I don't want anyone to know about my selling show. That's where I get my stuff. I tell them, then I'm going to be competing with my friends. I totally get no one to share those. But this show, this is the one that you should share if you care about your friends. Every once in a while, I have people come in the front door that are like, man, I didn't know any places like this exist. He's like, why don't I know about this? And I'm like, because your friends suck. That's why. They didn't tell you about it.
Say that.
No, because they always say, my friends told me about this today, but you've been here for 10 years. It's like your friends are horrible because they didn't tell you about me 10 years ago. Don't do that. Don't be that friend. Hook up your friends. All right. And I've been waiting for this for a while. Winchester Mystery House out of Source Point Press, written by Josh Werner. Congratulations. Won the Gary Reed Award this last week. It goes to a person that works in the comic book industry that primarily is there to lift other people up and doesn't really think about their own self, because that's what Gary Reed did. He's responsible for a great many comic book companies that exist right now because he encouraged people to follow their dreams, like Scout and Aftershock and Source Point all exist specifically because of Gary Reed. I don't know, Nick, if Gary Reed has any connections to you and your company, or if you just knew him and think he's awesome, but I have heard only amazing things. But Winchester Mystery House is a very researched tale about Sarah Winchester and her reasons for and early days of starting the Winchester Mystery House and what's going on. It is a much more sympathetic view of what went on there from her point of view, instead of being what normally people say is like she was a crazy person and saw ghosts. This one helps you out a lot more. First issue is amazing, and it gets you to the part of they've only built the house in so far as that they've gotten to the seance rooms, which is kind of, I think, where they started. That's what was the most important to her to start with. So yeah.
Is it more of a psychological thriller, or is it going straight supernatural, Ghostbusters, ghosts flying out everywhere?
So far everything is inferred. Like when you look at the house for the first time, there's kind of like you can see kind of like hazy figures on either side of it, but there's no like full on like boo ghost tales yet. Nick says that he knew Gary from David Mack and Brian Michael Bendis, a few others. I think he was like, I think he was probably like, what is that? The 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. He was like the Kevin Bacon of comics.
The 6 degrees of Gary Reed.
There you go.
All right. Next up is one that I know a lot of people are really excited about. Now, personally, I am not, I love Lord of the Rings, but I'm not usually a big Swords and Dragons, other than playing Dungeons and Dragons. That's usually not the material I go for. I'm more of a sci-fi person.
Okay.
So I mean, I was excited for this, but I was not as excited as a lot of people are for Dark Knights of Steel #1. This totally changed my mind. I loved this book. I love this book so much, and it is very, very surprising. This is absolutely wild. So this is total alternate history for DC in this one. And you can actually see on the cover. So this is Superman's parents. And she, if you look, is pregnant with Superman. In this alternate history, instead of leaving their homeworld, instead of the homeworld exploding and them just sending Superman off, they leave when she is still pregnant.
Oh, they all get away.
Yes.
Oh, I like that better.
So they get into the capsule. They launch off. Because of the time difference, they land in medieval times on Earth. So this is from the beginning, it's totally different. So they land in medieval times, and like I said, in this book's very disorienting. Like, you never know what's coming next, and it's awesome. What happens is they actually integrate fully into medieval society, with people fully knowing who they are and what their like superpowers are. They end up obviously becoming like royalty, because I mean they're superpowered in medieval society. And Bruce Wayne is the head of their guard. It flashes forward 19 years, and Superman is a young man. You know, he's grown up with his parents being royalty, and he has superpowers as well. But actually, Batman, or Bat Knight, you know, is the head of their guard and protecting the Superman family in their castle. And then with his Robins, who are all of his like guards that also help to protect them. And it's so good. It is absolutely wild. I know a lot of people have already probably picked this out, already have it on their pulls, because everyone has been really excited about this. But it is so good. And then it's so good. And then you get to the last page. This is some serious alternate history. Ooh. Like, things they're doing in here, like, mind blown. It has like 2 plot twists in one on the last page. Like, do not flip to the end of this book. Read the whole book, get to the last page, have your mind blown. This one is absolutely wonderful. And it is a 1 of 12. So it's a limited series.
Nice. All right, I have got Tangled River, which this is the coolest little book. It's Alive Press, which has been putting out some really cool things, but they don't put out a whole bunch, which I kind of like, because then you don't have like, which one of their titles do I get? You can just say, yes, I get all their titles, because there's only one running at a time. Tangled River happens in not our universe at all. It looks like, well, I mean, I guess it could be Earth. It says basically that all technology is kind of worthless to them. Like, there's people that have rooms in their house where they have some old technology stashed, but everyone looks at them as though they're kind of silly about it because it's not coming back. They don't use complex tools at all. As a matter of fact, this girl who's the main character, she likes to draw, and they all think that she's a little bit odd for wanting to create things, and no one writes anymore. Like, books don't exist really. And but they still have like random stuff that's around when they have, I guess, once a year or once every 2 years, there's a boat that comes by. It's a gypsy boat, and they go run and they try to trade for things, but most of people are interested in like food trades. But she gathers up her things and goes and trades and get this cool notebook. But it's a really interesting look at a universe where it's confusing, because she hangs out with people that don't look like real like humans. Like, they have like different colored skin and those kinds of things. But they both are native to wherever this is. And there was a spacecraft that was in orbit that arrived X amount of years ago, but they don't say that anyone came out of it. It's very interesting. I love it. This is another one of those slice of life, but not real life. But it's a really thick book. It takes forever to read it. Yeah. And you're super happy and content that it takes you that long to read it. So enjoy that.
I think you've got 3 and I've got 3 left. Or, yeah. Right?
Yeah?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, okay, you go.
Okay.
We have to speed it up, though, because I think we're going to bump it up. We have 10 minutes.
Yeah. All right. So this is New Burn, which is spelled like new and burn. This one, if you like The Godfather, if you like Goodfellas, if you like all of those if you like The Sopranos, if you like all those good mob shows, this is the comic for you. Because New Burn, which I forget it's his last name, of a private detective. He was a former police officer who went private. He now works for all of the mob families in New York. All of them. He's like a private entity contractor, and he basically investigates mostly deaths, and he's investigating. You meet him investigating a death of one of the mobsters' sort of disowned family members, but still they want to know who killed him.
Mm-hmm.
And it is so good. And it is just like that classic, like hard-boiled, you know, a lot's going on here, a lot of different families, a lot of different political things going on, and it is so good. It's got a mystery, but like I said, basically, if you like all of those good mob movies, this is for you. It's New Burn from Image. Come out. The number 1 came out this week.
Awesome. Okay, so this is not actually a book that comes out this week. It's called a preview book, and the title is called Emo Girl. And what it looks like, because all it does is have a few pages at the very beginning that are still sketched. They're like sketch that have all of the actual words in it. But it looks like that the emo girl in this case is a daughter that's going to visit her dad, who's in prison, who it appears, by what I've seen in the dialogue so far, looks like he probably did do something bad. And but also that she's aware of it, and kind of is kind of party to his kind of like not good lifestyle. And it's kind of a cool thing because it when you get to the end of what they've got made so far, it has the full script, so you could go in and read what's going to happen next. But think about adding this to your pull if you like those kind of books where it's like everyone's probably not the best.
And who is it from?
This is awesome. Here's the pitch. I can actually, it's by Black Tooth Comics. And it says that Gemini Moon, that's Emo Girl, is in state custody. Her father is in jail, accused of hunting down and killing a homeless man. But they claim it was not a homeless man, but in fact a vampire. Turns out the self-possessed vampire hunters have been doing it for years. No one who knows who they are or where they came from. And okay, so they're not really like bad people. They really are just vampire hunters. Oh, well, that makes sense why there's a stake on the front cover. See? Observations are better.
It's all right. Now we've got The Rush. Just one, and number 1 came out with some beautiful variant covers of this one. I one of them especially immediately grabbed my attention. So this is another one. Get yourself sat down, get yourself a drink, get yourself comfy, because this is a reader and it's good. And so the whole start of the story is set out in the form of a letter. So it's one of those where it's showing you all these different things, but the text is a letter that a mother is writing to her son. So yeah, so it's the mom, but don't worry. Well, you should worry, but not right now. So there's the woman, and her husband and her son have gone off to hunt and pan for gold. They've gone off, and she didn't hear anything from them for a long time. All of a sudden, she finds her husband drunk in a bar. She says, "Where's my boy?" He says, "Oh, he wanted to stay out there panning for gold, so I just let him." And she's like, "No, no, this not gonna fly with me, you know." And she just tells him she's done with him, and she heads out. She heads out west. She's gonna go find her boy, and that's what this book is. This first one is about her and her beginning of her journey, which this woman is tough. I mean, she's a mom out looking for her son, gonna get her son. You know, she's tough as nails. But there's something very big and very spooky out there, which you see in the beginning. And it's actually this man in a bowler hat with a full suit on that people are like seeing out in the wilderness, and they don't know what he does to people.
Yeah,
but basically,
unknown,
yeah.
Oh.
And there is a big spider monster. So they're teasing that it's going to come into play as well. So that's The Rush.
No,
It's
thank you.
awesome.
Scary. All right. Stan Yak has a second book of zombies. We Are Human 2. The most gorgeous art that you will see this week. I'm just going to think, even though it's all zombies,
Yeah, it's gross.
you'll understand when you look at it. So it is essentially this group of people that are escaping zombies that as they found a safe house, they can still kind of like see them down on the road. And they're like, hey, did you think about what zombies used to be, what the people used to be? Let's make up stories about who they were in real life and how they became zombies. And then it breaks out into some how they became zombies stories. And they're good.
That's
so
awesome.
Good. One's kind of like, oh, that poor guy.
Yep.
And then I'm going to go real fast and do Athena also. Athena the Undying is awesome. She is a BA, butt kicker, queen, and takes no quarter. And that's all you need to know about her, honestly. She's awesome. And she's the Undying, so you can probably guess the other part about her.
All right, very last one, super fast, because it pretty much describes what it is on the front. After Dark, a horror anthology from Aftershock. A warning, if you have arachnophobia, probably don't pick this one up. It has a story. It has a couple of different stories in it. One of them has a lot of spiders. So many spiders. It's really good, and actually that story is going to get a spinoff of its very own full comic, which is advertised at the end of this. So it is,
spooters.
There's spiders, there's a lot, and I don't want people to get spooked by it. And it also has a Black-Eyed Kids story in here, which is a fairly new, like, creepy sort of like urban myth, and it's cool to start seeing them show up in comics. So very good for all of the other spooky fans out there.
So you're talking about the Black-Eyed Kids, which is Pruitt's run of books. This is the first new story out of that universe since issue 12 finished a long time ago. So you'll still get it, though. You don't want to say anything about the spiders, but you'll still get the spider book.
And you could read the first two stories and then just stop. And then just not read the last.
Wait,
this is the very
wait
last
for the
one.
daylight to read that part. All right. Thank you, everybody, for stopping by. Adrian and Nick and James and all of our other really great friends. I think Ming was on. And I see, is it BBB? Love it. Hardcore spoilers. We try not to spoil during this show, but if you want to message me after the show, I'll tell you all the spoilers if you like. You just have to know that I'm going to go deep in all those cool spoilery things. Thank you so much for joining us.
And we have another show tonight, isn't it? That we're going to talk about? Not us, but the Experience.
Yeah, Experience is coming up next with some more awesome things. I think Kyle's going to tell you what he has in his pull box, or what he's going to have in his pull box, or what he wants to have in his pull box. So you can get some more information about the books. I think they're going to go a little bit deeper into less books for you. So, and it's from a fan's point of view, so you'll get to know what they really like. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. We'll see you guys next time.
Hey, you're going to be back later with Mog and Rob.
Oh, that's right. I get to be back.
I knew you were going to forget something.
No!
I tried to remind you.
I haven't. I didn't know which one it was. Yes, I have another interview for you guys. You can hear from Mog Park and Rob Multari, who have a cool new book called Snowpaw coming out. It's in its last days of Kickstarter. Don't miss it. All right, everybody. We'll see you guys later.
See you next week. Bye.